your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. A leader in the tourism industry and Grand's Bahamian businesswoman Erica Gates has passed away. Gates was the owner of the Garden of the Groves as well as Grand's Bahama Nature Tours. Gates was a highly respected individual in the country and across the Caribbean. Tonight, 2 employees of the Garden of the Groves and Grand's Bahama Nature Tours are sharing their experience with Gates, noting her many contributions to their careers and ecotourism on the island. Here is Italia Hall.
Businesswoman Erica Gates is a legend in the birding sphere and nature tourism industry. Gates, originally from Germany, came to Grand Bahama many years ago. She has been described as a pioneer in the nature tourism sector and greatly impacted many individuals in that arena. She was a valued Bahamas National Trust partner in Grand Bahama, especially at the Lucaya National Park. Gates was also a keen and valued supporter of the regional bird conservation organization, Birds Caribbean. Park manager of the Garden of the Groves, Marilyn Lang, says she met Gates in the early 2000s and began working at the park as a volunteer. Lang then rose up through the ranks to park manager.
Erica and I and Michelle worked hand in hand. She was not afraid to get her hands dirty. I would come many days, whatever the project was for painting. She would be doing that side by side gardening, and I learned her style of gardening, which is now an asset to me. And so it some days was hot and rainy, but in her German way, she said raining was a perfect day for gardeners.
Nature tour guide Dwayne Marshall says he met Gates before working for the company and was later employed by the late Ed Gates, her husband.
From day one, I felt the energy and compassion for the island of Grand Bahama of what she was bringing as far as nature. And she took me under her wing and taught me every single thing I know today. I mean, from nature to birds to everything, geology, everything that Bahamas is known for, and people like to travel to this country for, she has instilled that in me.
Lang says she admired Gates' ability to be versatile.
She worked in a garden and she loved animals, so she was instrumental in training us as bird watchers or bird enthusiasts. We learned to care for the environment, to make sure that the birds have food when they come for migration.
The park was affected greatly by hurricanes Wilma, Matthew, and Dorian. Lang says the level of resiliency displayed by Gates was impeccable.
I could only get my strength when looking at her, because sometimes when I came, I thought it was all finished. But she would just say, Marilyn, let's go one day at a time and let's move on.
Marshall says he had the opportunity to spend some time with Gates before she passed away, adding that the country must remember her contributions.
Cleanliness, professionalism, number one, because she was always a person that believed in cleanliness and, taking care of the island, everything but the island, the ocean, the land, the vegetation, the birds. Okay, so when we remember her, we need to keep Grand Bahama clean and remember of Erica Gates, because she was always keen on keeping the island clean.
Now operations at the park will continue as usual. 2 red and gold bowls were placed at the entrance of the Garden of the Groves in Gates' honor, as red was her favorite color. Erica Gates passed away on Monday, December 13th, at the age of 79 following a short illness. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, condolences continue to pour in on the passing of ecotourism extraordinaire Erica Gates. President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, remembering Gates as a true icon to the tourism community in Grand Bahama and the country at large.
I remember Erica first introduced me to the beautiful mangroves of Grand Bahama, where she insisted that I do this tour, this kayak nature tour of the mangrove system by the Gold Rock Creek, and it just was an unforgettable experience. She was also brave enough to partner with the Port Group to bring life back into the Garden of the Groves facility, and that took a lot of effort, and she did it. She stayed with it. And despite the ups and downs with the economy in Grand Bahama, Erica Gates was always very committed to this jurisdiction.
Roll says it is important for others to continue the work she started. Meantime, General Manager at the Ministry of Tourism Grand Bahama, Stephen Johnson, is also sharing his condolences.
I think she was really on to something in terms of recognizing that Grand Bahama has a niche in regard to our focus on ecotourism. There are a number of other persons who would have been trained under her wing, and they have launched their own companies, and I'm sure they're going to take it even to higher heights.
Here's a lady who has been instrumental in Grand Bahama, sustainable tourism, coastal awareness. She is the owner of Grand Bahama Nature Tours. She does a lot of stuff for the Garden of the Groves and anything to do with protection of the waters. And Erica is the true champion, and she's going to be missed. Here's a lady that assisted us in the tourism product. Travel all over the world promoting bird watching and etc. A powerful giant. And this is going to be a big void for Grand Bahama, and we will never forget her.
A local church receiving a generous donation from the Status of Women Grand Bahama branch. Co-chairman of the group, Kitora Munro, says the food drive is one of several community initiatives planned by the group.
Well, the Status of Women is a global organization that promotes gender equality in the workplace as well as in trade unions. The Status of Women also find initiative that empower women in our society. Now, the Status of Women in Grand Bahama, we fall under the Bahamas Union of Teachers. So we are a group of educators that follow the same guidelines and values of our organization, which is the umbrella, the Caribbean Union of Teachers. And today we selected one of our local churches that we're going to donate all of the canned foods we collected from our teachers in the Bahamas Union of Teachers.
Pastor of the Freeport Seventh-day Adventist Church, Eric Danny Clark, receiving the donation on behalf of the church. He says they are excited to be able to partner with the Status of Women organization.
We want to commend them for the work that they've been doing. When we look at it, what we operate as far as the church is concerned is what is called the Evangeline Jervis Community Services Distribution Center. And that's a place where folk can come on at least 4 days out of the week and receive goods and services free of charge. Everything we do it free of charge. So folk, if they need clothing for school or otherwise, if they need their shoes, if they need toiletries, they need dry goods and all the rest of it, we provide that. So whenever they show up at the center, we're delighted to. And this group of fine persons who've come from the Bahamas Union of Teachers, we're delighted that they have seen what is happening and they want to just support, and we're very pleased.
And now it is time for a check on sports with Jay Philippe.
Good evening, I'm Jay Philippe and welcome to Sports. We have a whole lot of updates from athletes from the Northern Bahamas. Let's jump right into it. The inaugural Sugar Rubens D1 basketball tournament took place back in 2019. Since then, the organizers has attempted to relaunch the tournament at the Gateway School gym. But now that sports is making its way back, tournament coordinator Dion Rookie McVie says the return of the tournament to Bimini is in the works.
This year we're supposed to have the D1 preseason basketball tournament. However, we had a spike in cases on the island of Bimini with COVID, so we had to postpone it. But however, I am still planning it for next year. No tentative date has been set yet, but it's going to happen. I'm guaranteed that it's going to happen.
McVie says he anticipates some good competition.
This year we had so far 8 teams confirmed, ready, locked and loaded, ready to come, you know. They've been calling, WhatsApping, reaching out every time I go travel to Nassau. They, hey, rookie, when the tournament, you know. But like I say, I assured them that we are going to have it next year for sure.
Sticking with hoops action, Grand Bahamian Jonquel Jones remains the front runner to claim another MVP award this season. the UMMC Ekaterina Foxes Center is atop the standings as the FIBA produced the third installment of the MVP ladder of the EuroLeague women's regular season. Jones is averaging 16.7 points per game, 9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 1.3 blocks per game. Her UMMC is favored to repeat as EuroLeague champions for the 7th consecutive year. Switching gears now in cycling, the Ironman Road Race is expected to take place this Saturday, December 18th. Cyclists will compete in a number of categories, including juniors, open men, and open women. Race starts at 9 a.m. sharp. And finally in sports, the decision is in for Prince Strawn, the Grand Bahamian high school football player who just completed an impressive year at John Carroll High School, has committed to Boise State University as part of their 2021 signing class. Strawn made an announcement earlier today at a press conference in Florida at his high school gymnasium on signing day. Again, Prince is the younger brother of Michael Strawn, who's in his rookie year playing for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, congratulations goes out to Prince Strawn. The kid has a lot of talent. That's a quick check on sports. I'm Jay Philippe. Be blessed.